Hello again, LeftoverRemains here, and I want to make a couple things clear before I start this tutorial. On the walk main character, I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, I already touched it up, but I took out the WASD selected equals true and the false, and I just put it in as left is equal to down and all that. Last time I was a little excited to get back into doing tutorials, so I kind of just zoned out and just threw a bunch of stuff together. But anyway, this by itself right here will work perfectly. You don't need WASD because it's already saying if left is down, because if this is true, then regardless of what is selected, either left arrow or left WASD, it will actually act as that because it says left is selected to A, so you don't need to tell it again to tell it to do the same thing it's already doing. So let's close that again, and let's go back to the main character. I want to get rid of that because I finally got something for the other game that I did, the Metro game, so I'm going to throw that in right now. And I'm going to use the main character, the new model for the character here. So I'll start with this, and then again you could use a GIF, a GIF file, that way you'd be able to throw it all in together. And then the last one here, where is it? It was right. What's the difference? Did I get that one already? Nope. Okay, good. So I'll just delete this now. And I'm going to try to make sure that I'm going to move that over so the walk is a little more fluid. I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste it in there, so now he's walking all fast. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to change this to 175. If I put it to 200, he's going to walk really slow. And if I put it at 150, that's not slow enough. So I'm just going to set it to 175. That'll give it the nice range we're looking for. I'm going to change this. I'm going to call it right for the name, and I'm going to go into collisions. I'm going to want to size it down a little bit, so I'm going to try, let's say 10. Yeah, that looks good. The top, let's say I'll bring it down to maybe 4. Alright. The width, I don't want it that long, so I'll change it to, let's say 15, maybe 10. Yeah, that's about right. And for the height, I'll put it, let's see, 4 minus 32. That should be 28. Alright. And we're going to also want to make a main character group here. That way we'll be able to have the main character hit stuff and have enemies hit other things. So if you use bullets, you don't want your main character to be shooting himself all the time. So I'm going to set it to tiles, actors, and players, so the main character can touch everything but himself right now. And then it's not in here, so you're going to click Control R, it'll refresh it, and then now it'll pop up right there. I'm going to go back into there, and I'm going to duplicate it right down here, and I'm going to title it left, and I'm going to come down here to this little gear, and I'm going to click it, and it's going to say flip horizontal, and now it's opposite. And I also want to have him just stand there. I don't want him walking all the time, so I'm going to call it left stand. I'm going to get rid of everything else other than that single stand. I'm going to do the same thing for that. I'll call it right stand. I'll get rid of that and that. Oop. What the? Yeah, get rid of that. Alright, so now we have a nice little posture here. So I'm going to want to, I don't want him to be walking when we start, so I'm going to set it to right stand. I'm going to click this little star. That means that it's going to be able to, when the scene starts, he's going to look like that. And let's see, I'm going to want to make sure that he's in the scene properly. Alright, there he is. I'm going to go back to the main character, and I'm going to start touching up some stuff here. So I'm going to want to go to the walk main character, and now I'm going to take this stuff, I'm going to get rid of all this stuff because I don't need this. And I'm going to go type in anima, which will bring me up to animation. And I'll bring a couple in there, just throw them in like that. And if it's down, then it'll be left walk. If right is down, it'll be right walk. If left was released, it'll be left stand. And if right was released, it'll be right stand. Oop. Always have to make sure that spelling is proper, otherwise the script won't understand what the hell you're talking about. Alright. And now we'll give it a try. So when we start it up, I got the WS and D selected. I feel kind of like slow right now, like I'm talking like at a super slow, boring pace, you know. And he falls down. Isn't that beautiful? You know why? Because we forgot one thing to do. We forgot to change it to no rotation. That way, he'll walk, but he won't trip over himself like he just did. So let's try that again. Oh yeah, that is just awful. Alright. Let me see here real quick. Oh, I know exactly why. Before I even did anything, I know exactly what's wrong. Yes, left walk and right walk. You have to make sure that this name is equal to this name, otherwise it won't work. It'll just be like, I don't understand what you're trying to do. And you don't want your game to tell you that. Alright, look at that stuff. Look at that action. Isn't that, oh yeah, that's good stuff. Anyway, so now we're going to want to have a jump cycle. And like I was talking about last, we're going to have the Y speed set to a negative. So I'm just going to go to -5. And I'm going to make another attribute actually. I'm going to do that. Attributes, getters. I'm going to call it jump. Set it to control. Click OK. Now I'm going to come in here. I'm going to get a setter also because I'm going to have to set that up as well. And I'm also going to have to go back into the settings. Go into controls. I have an up arrow, so I'm going to retitle that. And now I need to make a W. So I'm going to title that jump W. Oop, yeah, there we go. There we go. Click OK. And we're going to want to click Control R again, just so that we have that re-polished up. That one's fine. This one I'll change it to jump W. And we'll just plop it right in there and there. Now, a couple things here. We're going to want this set Y speed if it's jumped, so let's do that right now. If jump, I need to get if jump was pressed, what am I doing? I could just click, there we go. Alright, so if jump was pressed, do that, but we have a couple problems. If we just do that, well, let me show you what I'm talking about, that way you understand what I'm getting at. Come on, you dang mouse. Let's scroll it down. Alright, so if you just threw it in like that and you just had it like that, this is what's going to happen, and you don't want this to happen because this is just a nightmare. And I totally didn't set it high enough, so let's set it to down. Let's set it to 15. Let's test it again because the gravity is a little strong, so see, you can just kind of bounce up and down and then you drop. And you don't want that. You want him to be able to either double jump or just to be able to, you know, have one jump and that's it. Or you don't want him to fly off to, you know, Uranus over here. So let's close that. Now let's take this out. And let's see. Why did I reset all my stuff? That's really weird. Okay, let's re-implement this. Alright. And jump up. Yes, okay. That was weird. I wonder why I did that. Anyway, we're also going to want to make a attribute here, or a animation. So let's take this right one for the right, and then let's take and call it right jump. And we can use, let's say, I kind of like that one, so let's get rid of these and leave that one. And then I'll duplicate it. and I'll title it left jump, and then I'll just flip it again. Saves me a little time there. And I'm going to go into the walk, and I'm going to put this control here. I don't want this collision because I don't want him to always jump, so I'm going to go back, I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to get an and then I'm going to get this collision down here, and if the bottom was hit, that way he can't double jump, but at least he won't be flying all over the place, you know. So we'll save it, and then we'll test it again, and as you can see, he can only jump that. Now of course you can change the height, because this is a dinky little jump, but in comparison to how big he is, that's kind of what a human probably would be jumping. Little more so. So I mean, we can go back and say we want to jump 45 every time we press, or every time the jump is down. So we're gonna go back and test it again, and boom, with that, he's jumping like he's on the moon. Isn't that amazing? Yes. Anyway, so there was something I forgot to mention. I just remembered it after I finished. So I forgot to put in the jump animation, so I already did that. I went into the walk character, and I had to add an attribute there, so I put a jumping is equal to true. So here you can see that if I went, and I can't remember if I put this in or not, but I'll just refresh your memory in case I didn't. I went to collisions and I clicked something else, and then I came here and I went down to collisions, and then the bottom of actor was hit, then set jumping to false. And if the jump was pressed, such as how we already did it with the attribute and the getter, then, and the bottom was hit, that way you don't keep jumping up, then the Y speed is minus 45, just for this test of course, and do after is after 0.1 seconds you'll set it to true. Now over here in the jumping, I put 2 new scripts. I put everything as it is, and I just added this down here, and jumping equals to false. So if it's on the ground, if he's getting touched by the tiles and whatnot, then he's going to be walking just like normal. But if the jumping is true, then it's going to show that if the right was pressed or is down, then the right jump will happen. If the left is down or was pressed, then the left jump will happen. And then afterwards, if I release either of the buttons, then he won't just sit there and, well, let me give you an example here. So if I remove this part of the script, you'll see that he just kind of sticks like that, and then he'll walk. If you don't touch anything, he just kind of, you have to move him to make his animation fix. So by putting this in, that means that after 0.1 seconds, regardless of what he's doing, even if he's jumping, even if he's on the ground, he'll immediately let go. So you can walk like that, same with that. So it kind of stays fluid, you know. There's a little bit of a lag, but it's not too bad. You can adjust the time that is recognized, so he can recognize it sooner, or the game can recognize it sooner, that way there isn't as much of a lag, so he doesn't look like he's pausing when he finishes his jump. You can also add in a jump or a landing animation, but I think right now this will be good. Again, thanks for watching.